All right, Scott Siple writes, why aren't the comic writers doing the casting and writing for all of the comic movies?
You know, this kind of question comes in every once in a while. Some people think, oh, well, comic book writers should just write the script. Well, writing comic books and writing screenplays, knowing what works on a printed page and what works on a big screen, they're two totally different things. Two completely different things. One great example of this, I have a friend of mine who's a fabulous artist, wonderful artist, is a beautiful painter. And then one weekend we got her to help us paint our new offices, and she couldn't paint a wall worth crap. Because, hey, it's painting is painting. No, 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 two different types of painting, and they're very, very different things to do. And writing a comic book and understanding what comes across great on a page as opposed to what works in a narrative and works on a live action screen, very different things. And why would you want a comic book artist or a comic book writer to cast a film? What do they know about movies and what do they know about casting? Now, whenever I bring that topic up, this is the rule of exceptions. This is what I call it, the rule of exceptions. Whenever I bring this up, people always want to bring up the 2 or 3 names out of the 100,000 comic book writers. They'd like to bring up the 2 or 3 names. Well, Joss Whedon. Whedon was a comic book writer and he can write, so you see, it works. That's 1 out of 1,000. And if you want to put your money on 1 in 1,000 odds, be my guest. But it's the same way. Like, people always like to bring up the exception, because in everything there are exceptions. They like to bring up the exception and then pretend like that's an argument for the rule. But it's not the rule, it's the exception. And I don't think comic book artists should cast movies. I don't think people who cast movies should write comic books. I mean, you're going to have the odd exception where you're going to find the odd guy like a Whedon who's so extremely talented. He knows how to traverse those 2 worlds and make them both great. He knows how to make something work on a comic book page. He knows how to make something work on the big screen. But they're the exception, not the rule. And so that's why let casting guys cast, let comic book writers write comic books. What do you think?
It's different mediums.
Yeah.
So you need a different skill set and you need different experiences in order to do it. It's not that, you know, I'm sure some comic book writers could do a good job, but they've got to learn the process. You can't just hop over from one to another. I mean, you have someone, you know, this is a different medium, but you have Cormac McCarthy, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning novelist.
Right.
He just did his first original screenplay for The Counselor, which got bashed. And one of the main reasons it got bashed was because of the screenplay. They said it was over wordy and just a lot of monologues that just don't fit for a movie, which is a visual medium.
Right.
So I think there's a lack of respect in that part. And it's similar to what you were talking about with the lack of respect for acting. I think there's a lack of respect for writing and directing and just the production process that people either just don't understand or they just don't respect it, because you just can't just hop over to things. It's not that simple. You can't be like, oh, suddenly I'm gonna be a director, suddenly I'm gonna be a writer. You know, it's totally different thing. Just the same way that a movie screenwriter can't just go hop into comic books.
Yeah, because it's a totally different thing.
Exactly. Can it work? Sure, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because they're a writer they can do it.
Yeah, my sports analogy is always this. Basketball analogy, can you throw the ball from half court and make it go in the net? Sure, it's possible, it's happened, but it happens 1 out of every 100 times. You don't want to be putting your money on making that shot.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.